Hey, comic book fans! Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Geezers. I'm your host, Wild Building on Comic, sitting alongside right next to me over here.
Pete Pardo, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining. We've got another Inside the Cover episode for you today. Another war comic. You guys like the war comics? And as you heard a month or so ago, I did pick up a handful of old Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos. So here's another kind of notable issue. I picked this one for a reason. And the last one, we had one of the first appearances of Baron Zemo. Well, how about one of the first appearances of Baron Strucker?
How many Barons we got out there?
Too many Barons. All these German characters, right? Yep. So this is issue number 14. Strucker. So Baron Strucker, of course, one of the leaders of Hydra.
Okay.
Much later on in the 60s, right? But here, this is from Baron Strucker as he's working alongside Adolf Hitler for the Nazis in World War II, and the Howling Commandos were the main thorn in the side of the Nazi regime at the time. So issue number 14, and this is from, I'm going to say 1964. Right?
All right.
So what's interesting here, so, again, it is Marvel Comics, right? But if you look on the copyright page, it says, copyright 1964 by Bard Publishing Group. So I guess Bard Publishing Group was still the main entity name for Marvel Comics.
They were in control of the name of
I guess, yeah.
Sergeant Fury.
So you have to wonder.
Bard.
Yeah, Bard Publishing Group. So you have to wonder when that was officially all Marvel. But here we have Stan Lee. Interesting how they put on the comic guys who are ex-military guys. So written with the explosive power of a live grenade by ex-Sergeant Stan Lee, drawn with the savage impact of a blockbuster by ex-Corporal Dick Ayers, inked with the smashing force of a Sherman tank by Geo Bell, I guess that's George Bell, and lettered with a brand new bottle of indie ink by Artie Simic, and of course,
who's that? Brett?
Scott, yeah.
Scott,
yeah, I don't know. It's like
what's that say?
Sergeant Fury 14. I don't know why the person who owned this felt the need to do that, but they wrote down what issue number it is when it says it inside, and it says it on the cover. And that is a Jack King Kirby cover, by the way. So again, for those of you, Baron Strucker introduced quite a bit in Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Again, without the patch I saw on the inside cover there.
Right, so yeah, exactly. So Nick, much younger, I'm guessing in his 20s, but he doesn't really look like he's in his 20s. He looks older than that, but based on, we always kind of assume that Nick Fury, when he becomes a colonel for S.H.I.E.L.D. in the 60s, that he's probably in his 40s, right, or thereabouts. So that would kind of make sense. But I always thought he looked younger in S.H.I.E.L.D. in the 60s than he looks here.
No silver streaks in his hair.
No silver streaks in his hair, but just looks older.
No cigar.
Yeah, well, he's got plenty of cigars in here. But here is, again, just another mission. They're doing some practice stuff on Normandy, and here you got Baron Strucker working with Adolf Hitler. There's Adolf Hitler there, and he's like, you have got to come up with a way to defeat the Howling Commandos, right? Because we've got all these missions that we need to do. So Hitler advises Strucker that he needs to put together a team that's going to take out the Commandos. That's basically the gist of this whole story here. And they talk about how he had asked Strucker to do some other things, and they referenced Sergeant Fury number 5 and 9. So the first ever appearances in Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos was in issues number 5 and 9. And like I said, this is issue number 14. But at the same time, we were also seeing this character. He shows up in the Avengers. He shows up in all those S.H.I.E.L.D. issues as well. So I think technically these came first. So I would assume number 5 is the first ever appearance of Baron Strucker.
So we see Baron Strucker later on in the Nick Fury 18 issue?
Yeah, he also had a lot to do with creating the adamantium that goes into Wolverine's
He's behind those experiments.
Yeah, so this guy has been involved in a lot of shit over the years in Marvel Comics.
Mostly experiments.
Yes.
Classified experiments.
So here, again, what he does is he goes out in Germany and Bavaria and all these other countries, and he goes and finds his henchmen that he's going to put together, and he calls this, what does he call this team? I'll find it in a second.
It's a dream team.
Yeah, he calls them something. I'm trying to remember what exactly it is.
Annihilators.
The the Blitzkrieg Squad. That's what they're called. So here he puts together the Blitzkrieg Squad, and each member has a certain skill that is meant to counteract each one of the individual Howling Commandos.
Okay.
So that's what it is. So it's like, well, you have this kind of skill, you're going to outdo Dum Dum Dugan.
It's like a chess game now.
Exactly, that's what it is. So then they plot to decoy the commandos to come in to check out something on a specific mission, and that's when they go and attack.
Set that trap.
Yeah. So again, this is as in the last episode we did on a Sergeant Fury comic. There's all sorts of crazy dialogue, and not of it a lot of realistic, true war stuff. It's very, very much
macho
and tapered. Yeah, big time. But you got all the really bad dialogue from the Germans. Achtung, Oberlieutenant Schultz here. Der enemy has entered their trap. Notify Herr Baron Strucker schnell. They're here. Our moment of triumph is almost at hand. I'm talking like Arnold again, I know, right? But yeah, the dialogue is just ridiculous. But
Schnell.
I don't even know what Schnell means. What does that mean? Now, pronto? I don't know.
thinking shells.
Artillery Schnell.
I don't know. Who knows?
Schnell the judge.
But here you got a lot of battles in this, right? There's a lot of stuff, throwing off the grenades around, and mostly, it's funny because a lot of these comics that I've read so far, you don't see a lot of killing actually.
No, there's no blood and guts.
No, not at all. So
you got to use your imagination because movies were like that too at the time.
True.
A lot of war movies, people just fell over. They wanted blood and gore.
One of our readers made a comment on the last episode we did of one of these issues and said that if you wanted to get more true depictions of war in this time frame, there were other comics that were doing a little better by other publishers, and they mentioned that Warren magazine.
They only have 4 issues.
Right. They said that's
combat
actually,
magazine. Yes.
Right. They said that's actually better if you want to get more of a feel of the horrors of war. Whereas this is not really that. This is like it's all fun.
This is for kids.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't want like too graphic.
Yeah, here they're kind of like
a little bit more respect.
War. Yeah.
Is there a comics code on that thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that
the censors to worry about.
Yeah. So here, of course, the
Buttercup.
the Blitzkrieg squad, they do not do what they're supposed to do, and of course they beat Baron Strucker's team, and Hitler comes along, and he's not too happy, right? So
we didn't want to offend anybody.
Yeah. They escaped from out under your noses. You have disappointed your own Führer. You will regret this, Strucker. Nobody fails Adolf Hitler. Nobody. I will never rest till their commandos are kaput. Do you hear me, Strucker? Never. Never. Ja, mein Führer. Of course, mein Führer. Jawal, 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 or whatever.
Yeah.
So again, but he escapes. So the commandos actually don't capture Strucker, so he is going to live to fight another day. That's basically the moral of this story. And, as we've seen in Marvel Comics history, you do see that quite a bit. Oh, I always love these pages here where they show you some other stuff. So there's an old issue of Spider-Man with the Beetle and the Torch, an old X-Men with the Avengers, Tales to Astonish, Tales of Suspense.
B-26.
Yeah,
Get an extra whip.
Oh, look at that, the Origin of the Mandarin. That's Tales of Suspense number 62. I would like
the
to
B-26.
There's the leader, Atuma versus Giant Man. Pretty cool. And then, of course, you got, here's interesting. So here's a reader's page with a little clip from an older issue of Sergeant Fury with actual
complaints.
Jack Kirby, complaints with Jack Kirby on the art, because he actually did draw the first, I think, 4 or 5 issues before Dick Ayers took over. So
look at all the complaint letters.
Yeah. So there you have it. The Blitzkrieg Squad of Baron Strucker, issue number 14, Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. Hope you like this as we dip a little bit more into some of the war stuff. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll let Wild Bill take you out here.
Yes, we thank you for joining us for Comic Book Geezers. Please click the like button. It'll help us out. Thank you tremendously for that, and we thank you for being here. We thank you for your comments and your support. And as always, keep coming back if you like comics as much as we do. We'll see you next time on Comic Book Geezers.
That's right. Pete Pardo here. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.